Hi everybody, Adrian from Best Nutrition and welcome to episode 2 of Ask Adrian Anything. I'm here again with Louise. Say hi, Louise.
Hi.
I'm just back from Glastonbury, got back a week ago, so just about recovering, so I thought it was about time that I answered a few of your questions. Louise also went to Glastonbury. Did you have a good time, Louise?
I had a wonderful time, best weekend ever.
Sweet. What'd you get up to?
Oh, drank far too much.
Good. So first question, as far away.
Okay, so this question is from Matthew Bateman from the Best Nutrition Inner Circle. And he wants to know, if I feel lethargic during the afternoon, what's a great pick-me-up food for the afternoon that is not sugar?
Right, hi, Bates. If you're getting that afternoon lull, it's very, very common with regards to like lots of people, especially in office work and people that kind of like work in like, you know, those types of jobs. I would say if you're feeling a little bit like you get a bit of an energy slump in mid-afternoon, I think you need to look at your overall diet. So I would start looking at maybe breakfast and lunch to start with. The reason you're getting those peaks and troughs is because your sugar levels are going up and down. So I imagine if you're getting that mid-afternoon slump, it's just because you probably had quite a high carb dinner. So you could look to try and reduce some carbs at that time. You could also try and space your meals out a little bit more. So you could maybe eat like half your lunch at kind of like lunchtime, and then a couple of hours later you could have like a smaller, like the rest of your lunch. With regards to specific foods, you could look at nuts. Nuts are quite high energy, so you could try and make that kind of like a fat-based meal. So you can kind of like go nuts or something along those lines. But generally, I would just make sure you're getting enough sleep. I would make sure that I'd look at your carb content of your breakfast and your lunch, because if you have lots of carbs at breakfast and you're crashing about 10:30 or 10 o'clock, and if you have lots of carbs at lunch and you're crashing about 2 o'clock, it's just your body's way of dealing with those carbs. Another little trick is if you don't want to reduce your carbs down, have some fats, like increase your fat content of those meals, because when you combine your fats with your carbs, it will delay the insulin spike from those carbs. So obviously you won't get so much of a rise, and therefore you won't get so much of a drop. So I would try and do those 3 things. So look at your overall intake, make sure you're getting lots of sleep, try and combining fats with your carbs for those meals, and number 4, try and have more meals if you are feeling those rises and bumps.
What about water intake?
Water intake's important. Water intake's always important, but you know, I imagine he's doing that anyway. That doesn't necessarily, water intake won't necessarily have a direct impact on feeling tired. Severe under intake of water might do, but I doubt he's severely intaking water. Drink your water, Bates. Make sure you're doing that. Next question.
Okay, so from Victoria from the Best Nutrition Inner Circle, I'm lactose intolerant. Any tips or tricks you know and are willing to share? I personally find it quite hard to go 100% lactose free, as it's in almost everything. Thank you.
Okay, so lactose intolerance. Be honest, I've never worked with anyone that is diagnosed with lactose intolerance. I've worked with a few people that tend to have a few problems with lactose, like with milk and those kind of things. But what I would say is kind of like keep a bit of a diary. Get yourself a little bit of a plan together. So if you find you react massively to certain foods, then you might want to kind of like avoid them again. So just like if you have like I'm going to say like a glass of milk and then you react really badly for like the next 24 hours, then obviously you know milk is completely off the radar. If you have a little bit of cream and you don't react as badly, then you might be like, you might put that in the once in a while pile. Does that make sense? So kind of like what you're trying to do is you're trying to look at all the foods you eat and try and categorize them as you go. So you need to really kind of like, you know, if you've got a real bad intolerance, you really need to sort out your diet, have a really good look at it, figure out what you can and what you can't eat. And unfortunately, there's no quick tips that are going to help you. But if you put in the effort to find out what foods trigger it off, and what foods you can handle and what foods you can kind of handle, then you can start piecing together your intake a little bit better. And I strongly advise that if you have been diagnosed as lactose intolerant, that you really sit down and really hammer that kind of stuff, because it's not going to get better, and it can be a very bad place to be. So, you don't want to be constantly eating foods that are causing you bother, because that's going to lead to a really unhappy life, and really feeling like lethargic, and maybe skin breakouts and irritability and all that kind of stuff. So I strongly advise you, Victoria, get writing your stuff down, figure out what foods cause you massive problems, which foods cause you small problems, and you're just better off just avoiding them. There's plenty of alternatives out on the market, your almond milks, your rice milks, that kind of stuff. But really keep a note of what irritates it and what mildly irritates it and what foods are completely cool. Once you've done that work, then life can become a bit easier.
Okay, next question is from Susie Pell from the Best Nutrition Inner Circle. Hiya, when you have a choice between fat-free or not, what should I be buying, bearing in mind natural is best? Thanks.
Hi Mum, it's always great when your mum jumps on and asks you a few questions about nutrition. So my stance on fat-free goods and that kind of stuff, I don't have a massive problem with them, which has changed a bit over the last few years, but I like to eat as close to nature as humanly possible. So if I could drink milk coming out of a cow, then I would drink milk coming out of a cow. I genuinely feel strongly about that. I think that the more removed or the more processed and treated a food is, then the less good it's going to be for us, less nutritious it's going to be for us. So I still buy full fat milk. I still kind of like, what else do I buy fat free? I buy Fage, my Fage Total yogurt. I buy the Total stuff. I don't buy the fat free stuff. Anything that's fat free, anything that's sugar free, anything that is free from calorie free or anything like that, it's had something put in it. Okay, so it's not better for you, and all of that stuff is not better for you. You might be able to enjoy nicer foods and still come in within your calorie limit, but you are not making it better for yourself. That's the general rule. On a personal note, I like to eat as close to nature as possible. So the least processed of food is, the better I feel about it, and the better I feel about my clients eating it. So I would go with the full fat options, the full sugar stuff, and I would just I would go with the less treated. Does that answer that one? I waffled a little bit then.
I think it does answer it, yeah.
Alright, cool. So that's it, guys. We're going to do these every Sunday, okay? So I want you to come up with as many questions as possible, okay? They don't have to be as complicated as today's ones, okay? They can be literally like, is a tomato a fruit or a vegetable? It can be, what is a macro, okay? I want you to ask any question. Any question you are thinking, I can guarantee about 90 to 95% of the rest of this group, which is about 75 other people, don't know the answer, but they're not brave enough to ask, okay? So be brave enough, ask the simple questions, and let's really make sure that this is your number one source for getting your nutrition information out there, okay? So keep asking questions, I'll keep answering them. Me and Louise will be back next Sunday, and I'll see you next week. Cheers, guys.